you know? The Pokemon franchise has actually affected multiple scientific discoveries, the first of which was a protein discovered by an Osaka bioscience team comprised of 18 researchers. The protein was first described in 2008 by Shigeru Sato, who chose to name it Pikachu-Rin, after the Pokemon Pikachu. The protein is found in mammals and plays a key role in the transmission of information from eyes to the brain, more specifically, visual information on how the eye tracks moving objects. Without Pikachu-Rin, it can take much longer for the information to reach the brain, if at all. According to the researchers, the decision to name the protein after Pikachu was based on both the Pokemon and the protein possessing lightning-fast moves and shocking electric effects. Also, another scientific discovery was influenced by Pokemon. This time, the affected discovery was a gene currently known as ZBTB7. It's thought that ZBTB7 may act as a master switch for cancer and is responsible for the growth of cancer throughout surrounding cells. The gene was in fact originally named Pokemon, which stood for POK, Erythoid Myeloid Ontogenic Factor. Nintendo subsidiary, the Pokemon Company, didn't appreciate the naming, however. In December 2005, they threatened legal action against the center that named the gene. The Pokemon Company understandably didn't want their trademark being linked to a cancer-causing gene, and naturally, they just didn't want to deal with the bad press that came with it. One thing that's also worth mentioning is that the Pokewalker bundled with Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver was found to be one of the most accurate pedometers of its time. An Iowa State University study found it to have a substantially reduced step counting error when compared to other pedometers. Science has also obviously influenced many aspects of the Pokemon world, but in places you might not expect. The Pokemon Charmander is based on a salamander, as can be seen in its name. The connection between the two runs a lot deeper than a name, however, and even goes back to ancient Greece. The Greek philosopher Aristotle made many contributions to the scientific world, including zoology. Many of his zoological observations were never investigated by other scientists until many centuries later. This led to a few misconceptions about the animals he observed. Aristotle once said that salamanders could extinguish a flame simply by passing through it. The misconceptions continued centuries later with the ancient Romans. The Roman naturalist Pliny the Elder documented that the salamander is so intensely cold as to extinguish fire by its contact, in the same way that ice does. Even Leonardo da Vinci once mentioned in his notebooks that the salamander had no digestive organs, and suggested that it gets its sustenance from fire, which it allegedly used to renew its scaly skin. These unchecked statements ran rampant and formed the basis for the mythological salamander that is closely related with fire. Charmander essentially exists because of a series of scientific errors. The Pokemon Mew has been influenced by science in multiple ways. Mew is said to be the ancestor of all Pokemon, and naturally, this reflects life on Earth. It's believed that all life on Earth shares a much simpler common ancestor. Although life on Earth may seem amazingly diverse and unique, all creatures operate using the same mechanisms. All life is comprised of cells and has a genetic code. It's believed these fundamentals originated in an LUA, which stands for Last Universal Ancestor, around 3.5 to 3.8 billion years ago. Pokemon are also massively varied and said to come from Mew, which appears to be a much simpler life form. That's not all, though. Mew's relationship with Mewtwo could also be based on a debunked biological idea called recapitulation theory. This theory is a suggestion that when an animal develops from an embryo to an adult, it goes through phases that resemble previous stages in its evolution. Mewtwo is seen as the next evolution of Mew and looks like a strong, fully developed creature. Mew, on the other hand, looks almost defenseless and greatly resembles an embryo. It's pink, rounded, with a large head and a tail. Even animals that don't have tails when fully grown, like humans, have developmental tails as they form in the womb. Mew has also been seen with spheres resembling an amniotic sac, a kind of bag that encases a fetus until shortly before birth. This connection between Mew, Mewtwo, evolution, and embryos is very reminiscent of recapitulation theory. We've mentioned before that when Paris evolves into Parasect, it's actually being taken over by the fungi growing on its back. But we never explained what this is based on. Paris is based on the immature nymph stage of a cicada's life cycle. The fungi on its back belongs to a genus of fungi called cordyceps, which is a real-life parasitic fungi that can affect the behavior of the host. Cicadas usually metamorphosize into a fully developed form that's capable of flight, but Paris's evolved form, Parasect, is based on a more morbid outcome for the insect. Parasect is effectively a cicada nymph that's been completely overtaken and is being controlled by the fungi. This also happens in nature. One prime example is a species of cordyceps that affects ants. The fungus in question will slowly consume the non-vital innards of the ant until it's ready to release its spores. Eventually, it finally takes full control of the ant, forcing it to climb up until it reaches what the fungi considers the right condition to release its offspring. The spores infect more ants, and the cycle continues. Parasec's Pokemon Crystal Pokedex entry mentions something similar, stating, when nothing's left to extract from the bug, the mushrooms on its back leave spores on the bug's egg. One last influence of science on Pokemon that you might not know is the swirls on Poliwag. Poliwhirl and Poliwrath's stomachs are based on tadpole intestines. The intestines form a spiral pattern, as can be seen in translucent tadpoles. And that's all for today, but don't forget to subscribe to Did You Know Gaming and follow Did You Know Gaming on Facebook and Twitter. Hi, I'm JonTron. If you want to see my brand spanking new video on bootleg Pokemon games, click this annotation right now. It's up right now, go watch it! Also, it has Pikachu in it. His face is there, and I hear the honeys love Pikachu. They come around the bend for it.